Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Oh, here, I'm going to use my... Good morning. I'm going to call this 8 o'clock Judicial and Public Safety Committee meeting to order. Can we get a roll call, please?
Chair Evans.
Here.
Member Chaplin.
Here.
Member Childress.
Here.
Member Dessart.
Here.
Member Ecka. Member Guston. Member Krajewski. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu. Member Zay.
Thank you. We have a quorum. And we have no public comments, correct?
We do not have public
Okay,
comment.
no public comments. So chair remarks. Today we are honored to have members of MERIT, which is the Metropolitan Emergency Response and Investigations Team. It's a countywide task force of highly skilled law enforcement professionals who work together to respond to major crimes and critical incidents. Westmont Police Chief Jim Gunther is the chair of MERIT and the MERIT Board of Directors. He will be giving us a presentation to tell us more about MERIT. And after the presentation, I will present the members of MERIT with a certificate of appreciation on behalf of Chair Conroy to recognize MERIT's contributions towards enhancing quality of life for DuPage County residents through their collaborative efforts. So with that, I would like to call up Chief Gunther.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Evans, for the invite. My third presentation in front of this body. I was tasked with talking about MERIT from a introductory level based on some new board members, and then talking about some current issues that we've been dealing with this past year for people that have basically heard the speech before. So with that, I apologize for anything that's repetitive that people have already heard, but for the new members, I hope this is informative and lets you know who we are as a task force. Real good. Should have a presentation coming up. See, clicker work. Oh, just take the next slide. Oh, very good. All right, next slide. So MERIT is a multi-jurisdictional task force throughout DuPage County, comprised of 36 agencies in DuPage. So if you think of the working under the umbrella of the DuPage County Chiefs of Police Association, MERIT is basically an all-in-one task force that covers a variety of disciplines within law enforcement. And this is a single source task force. So no matter the problem, no matter the situation, no matter the gravity, very skilled, highly trained police professionals will be handling those situations. So you think in terms of homicide or SWAT callouts or searching for lost children, accident reconstruction, for death investigations. MERIT handles all of it. One of the things, next slide, please. One of the things that we pride ourselves in is having a collaborative effort amongst all agencies in which small police departments are assisted with things that could be potentially be outside of their capabilities. Certainly Westmont is one of them. We're an agency of 40 officers, and when we have, for example, a barricaded subject in an apartment building, we need more than the 40 officers, in our department. So this task force handles all of that. On top of the major crimes that we handle, we also have a public integrity team, which handles officer-involved shootings and in-custody deaths, which is headed by Lieutenant Jeremy Thayer from the Downers Grove Police Department. And due to their diligence, and we have had numerous arrests leading to several prosecutions for with fairness and impartial outcomes. Next slide, please. The task force is divided into three elements or sections. tactical, special operations, and investigative. And you can see the list of specialties that fall underneath those three categories. Obviously, tactical operations covers SWAT, tactical emergency medics who are attached to the SWAT team, crisis negotiators, K-9, and recently added mental health professionals. So we felt the need as we evolved as a task force, this being almost our 4th year in existence, that on a barricaded subject call, there's obviously the crisis negotiators need assistance in dealing with mental health of the suspects, and certainly the mental well-being of the people that are in that situation unwittingly. The special operations section, major crash, incident management, planned events, drone team. That is the busiest component probably we have in all of Merritt is major crash. Anytime that there's a fatal accident in DuPage County, the major crash team responds. The drone team, which is a newer component that we've added recently, assists with the reconstruction of the crime scene. If there's a fatal accident, we send out the reconstructionist, we send the drone team, we send a drone up, they take pictures of the scene, and then we're able to better, very specifically figure out what happened. With the addition of the drone team, we've cut down the response probably in half. Technology that we used to use, it kind of sits on the shelf now because the drones are so efficient with what they do. So we're a 5-hour call out for the team, now is down to 2.5 hours. So we're really up in the efficiency when those activations occur. And then the investigative operations, major crimes, public integrity, which I've already briefly touched on, crime scene forensics, digital forensics, and public information. On the team, we split forensics into 2 categories: crime scene, so that's your general, fingerprints, blood analysis, direction of travel for bullets, and then the digital forensics, which is basically dealing with cell phones, computers, infotainment systems in cars, all of the stuff that we extract from a data perspective. So there's 2 distinct categories for the forensics unit. If you think of any crime or think of any person, and there's an equal number of cell phones and there are people in this room, every single crime that we go on, there's going to be a piece of technology, whether it's a cell phone, whether it's a car, whether it's a computer. So they are, widely used. We're dumping a lot of information, a lot of data through search warrants for all the crimes that occur. Next slide, please. Command structure. So the task force has a board, and you can see that up there. There will be some changes coming up. So as of May 10th, the new chairman will be John Madden from the Burr Ridge Police Department, who's been in the back corner. Vice chairman will be Bill Homer. Secretary will be Mike Rivas from Villa Park, who's new to the board. The DuPage Chief's liaison will be Chief Brian Cunningham, and the treasurer, who we just hoodwinked into taking that job a couple months ago, is Tim Roberts from Wayne. I've served as the chairman for just a little under 2 years, and it has been an absolute, one of the highlights of my career. I could not have, been asked for a better role in this organization. Next slide, please. As I mentioned briefly, we're 36 agencies in DuPage County. One of the prerequisites for being a member of Merritt is that you have to have land in DuPage County. So we've had several towns in Collier Cook County that have wanted to join, and we've had to turn them down because our bylaws state that you have to own land in DuPage. We also include in that 36 agencies, College of DuPage, the DuPage Forest Preserve, Lamont, Elk Grove Village. So all sort of unique, towns that are mostly in Cook, but a little bit in DuPage. They're still in, and then obviously the 2 that I mentioned. Next slide. So going back to when we founded Merritt, we did it with the belief that through the DuPage County Chiefs of Police Association, that police agencies in DuPage County work well together, and we have a long history in a lot of different areas of working well and in and all the things that we've listed. So if everybody's familiar with, dispatch centers or PSAPs. We went from a whole lot of PSAPs in DuPage County down to 2. So we consolidated services, we saved taxpayers a lot of money, and we built in redundancies through both ACDC and DUCOM. It makes communications flawless and seamless through, when I send Westmont officers to Glendale Heights or Hanover Park officers down to Lamont, we can all talk to one another through the 2 dispatch centers. Hexagon, so the computer aided dispatch, field-based reporting and on-call analytics, all for the most part, and it's not universally held, but just about, I would say 90% of DuPage County is tied into this system. So Merit has a portal within Hexagon to do reports. So when there's an activation, we have a Merit designation for field reporting, which helps the state's attorney's office and helps us with the information flow. I mentioned the radio system, and then a couple other things that we've done well together. We were on the forefront for the Narcan program through the state of Illinois. The Hope Task Force, these are all things that we collectively work on as a county, both municipal and at the county level. And then hopefully soon we'll have a central receiving center in conjunction with the DuPage Health Department. We were a pilot program for a decentralized model. So Westmont, Lombard, Downers Grove. I feel like there was one other worked on. Wheaton were the decentralized model for that. So again, it's these municipal organizations working well together. And now we're going to put that together for the central receiving center here in the near future. Next slide. Again, I mentioned that Merit is unique, and what makes us unique. If you think of a task force, you think of sort of a single purpose task force. If you're a comparable size, or you pick a town in maybe like Northwest Cook County, they would have to call a series of task forces to do the same thing that we do. So if you're, I think I used to use Wilmette as an example because Chief King of Hinsdale used to be the chief in Wilmette. So if Wilmette had a series of issues that they had to deal with, they would call one task force for a homicide, they would call another task force for a SWAT call out, they would call a third task force if they needed action reconstruction. All of these things are captured underneath the Merit umbrella. So I think that's one of the things that makes us unique. We started tracking, and as we evolved, we started using multiple components at the same time. So digital forensics, crime scene forensics, the major crimes, SWAT team, K9, all of these disciplines came together. And again, for communication and for for command, for oversight, for auditing purposes, all of these things flow better under our model. The specially trained personnel, if you think in terms of how many officers are in DuPage County, there's roughly 2,000 sworn officers in DuPage County, both at the sheriff's department and every municipal organization that we have. There are 300 people that are assigned to the Merit Task Force. So if you have a problem in your town, you're getting the top 15% of officers, from an aptitude standpoint that we have. It's hard enough to be a police officer in DuPage County. It's even harder to be put on the Merit Task Force. So you are getting the best of the best when you hear Merit coming to your town. Next slide. Quick rundown of activations. There's a lot of data that we're currently compiling. Our fiscal year ends April 30th, so we're not finalized with the numbers, but just to break down in some of the activations that we've gone on, and this is kind of a telling slide. I'll give you the acronyms at the bottom. So DFU is Digital Forensics Unit, which has already been mentioned, and you can see that they're spiking because, again, every situation is going to have a piece of technology in it. The next is drone and the major crash reconstruction team. I mentioned that they go out hand in hand in every time there's a major crash, the drone team responds. So that's why they're very, very similar. The two extra for the drone were probably SWAT activations because they do go out on SWAT teams. They have oversight. We can put them up in the air and watch a target location from above. We can send in the drones into a residence or an apartment building. We can fly it in. That's an officer safety issue. We can have eyes in without putting anybody's life in jeopardy. We've already done that a few times. So that technology is really helping us out. And then forensics unit is 17, crisis negotiation 14, and then SWAT 11. So and down the line. The PIO, which I haven't mentioned, that was another add-on that we've had in the last year and a half, where we felt the need that we needed the communication piece. And I think the Oak Brook Mall shooting was the thing that kind of told us that we needed a PIO function of merit to liaison with the host agency or whoever needed us. It's always good to bring in people from the outside as a detached, objective lens to kind of analyze a situation, and another huge benefit. Next slide. One of the things that we like to do, or I like to, or was proud of as a chairman of the board, was name recognition and getting us out into our communities and letting people know that when they see a police officer from a different jurisdiction in their town, there's a reason for that and what the reason is. So we've been invited a few places to talk, notably here for my third time. DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference. They had a standing committee where we talked to the DMMC on a regular basis. Also through the DMMC, they presented Chief Madden with a leadership award last year for his work in, not only merit, but before merit, we had Fiat on the south, more or less the south side of DuPage County, and that transition from taking Fiat and the sheriff's department and major crimes investigations on the north side of the county and blending it all together to make merit. So Chief Madden was awarded with a leadership plaque, and that is my mayor, Ron Gunter. Point that out because he was a former president of DuPage Mayors and Managers. We've also had a few other notable events. We were asked to speak at a multi-chamber economic outlook, which was DuPage County, Lake County, Will County, Cook County, and that was about a year ago. And that was fun because I got to brag about what we do in DuPage County, and other counties are saying, why can't we have those services? And what do we do with that? Call your local police chief and ask those questions. DuPage Convention and Visitors Bureau, that was in February, just recently. And then we always like to compliment State's Attorney Bob Berlin for mentioning us in his press releases whenever there's a major crime. Next slide, please. And with that, I'm going to ask State's Attorney Berlin to approach and talk a little bit about, his perspective and, some of the recent events and successes with prosecutions.
Thank you, Chief. Good morning. So I just want to share some numbers with you since Merit has been operating in August of 2019. We have charged 13 murder or attempt murder cases where Merit was involved, 4 carjackings, 6 aggravated DUI or reckless homicide cases, 2 armed robberies, and then 5 other forcible felonies. That's 30 cases right there, plus 5 cases where the Merit Public Integrity came out and did the investigation on officer-involved shootings. And let me just say, in those officer-involved shootings, on average, it's 3 to 6 months before those cases are turned around, before our office gets the investigation and I'm able to review everything and come out with a report and provide transparency to the public because the law requires anytime there's an officer-involved shooting that involves a death, if the officer isn't charged, a report has to be released and all of the evidence then is available to the public. So I think that's important when we're talking about the time frame. Lastly, these cases are starting to go through the system. Most recently, a man who pled guilty to an attempt carjacking in Downers Grove was sentenced to 20 years, 9 years for a drug-induced homicide. A juvenile who committed a carjacking in Willowbrook at the Target in the middle of the day was sentenced to the Illinois Department of Juvenile Justice, and then 101 years for a man who kidnapped, robbed, and sexually assaulted a college student who was home on vacation. And that occurred in the middle of the day. So the quality of the cases is really incredible. The evidence that we get from Merit, there is no other organization in the country like this. This is really the first of its kind. And just to echo what Chief Gunther said, when Merit responds, we truly do get the best of the best. It is a tremendous model, and we have buy-in from every single organization in this county.
Next slide, please. Recently, we had I just want to make mention of this. We with a generous donation of the DuPage County Board, we funded a Bearcat, and then through private donations, funded a second Bearcat, and we recently dedicated both Bearcats. The one on the left-hand side is Freeze 3, and that is in honor of Deputy Chief Bill Freeze of the Wooddale Police Department, who unexpectedly passed away recently, and that's Deputy Chief Freeze's family, along with members of the Wooddale Police Department. In that one, and then Flood Brothers on the picture on the right. So, very proud. Safety is an absolute #1 concern. We're putting our officers in harm's way. We're asking them to do very impossible tasks, and the least that we can do is give them the proper safety equipment to go and take care of those issues. And receiving these vehicles was a huge step in that direction. They not only protect the operators in the vehicles, but also the public when we're going to extract innocent civilians from harm's way. Next slide, please. Coming up in the future, we also have through a very generous contribution from this body, command vehicle, which is currently being built up in Wisconsin, and this is a rendering of the vehicle. So this will be a command vehicle that will be used on major activations, call outs, and the like. I believe Medina's hosting a President's Cup or something in a few years. I guarantee you this vehicle will be at that event, amongst others. So we're really looking forward to that. This is, again, really legitimizes who we are as an organization, and we couldn't be happier that this is going to come to fruition. And then next slide. And then finally, a huge thank you from myself, from the entire board, from every municipal police chief, from Sheriff Mendrick. We absolutely cherish our relationship with this body. We value your input. We value your expertise, and certainly we always would love to come up and talk anytime we're invited. So, for the past board, the present board, and hopefully the future boards, we will maintain this excellent relationship. I do want to also give a special shout out to the Sheriff Mendrick and his staff. This is a heavy lift for the Sheriff's Department. They have a lot of people that are assigned to this task force. I also want to thank Deputy Chief Billadu, who's the Merit Coordinator. He's kind of the guy that ties everything together. We have the executive level of the board, and then we have the operational components in the underneath, and DC Billadu does a great job in holding all of that together. So, huge thanks to him. And then, we're going to keep on going. We're looking forward to a new board coming up, and then continuing our service to all residents of DuPage County. Is there any questions? Wow. All right. Should we go by order of hands? I think you were first.
Thank you, and thank you for your presentation, Chief Gunther. We approved the funding for that command vehicle, over a year ago. Do we have any dates on when it's going to be done? I guess I already thought it was
I
done.
feel like fallish, right? I believe like September-ish. There was some supply chain issues. There was a chassis issue.
Okay, I remember the chassis issue.
Yeah, so, and as a matter of fact, the chassis issue actually sped it along. We probably would have been waiting an extra 6 months if we had to wait for a different one. So, yeah, and yeah, it's coming. We have emails are fast and furious, and it's getting to the point where they're going to start building it.
When it arrived, I remember we were all invited to go out and check out the Bearcat. So when the command center arrives, I hope we're invited to come out and check that out as well. So there were 200 or 300 Merit officers, did you say?
300.
300, and then you said the agency has 40 officers. What's the difference between the 300 and the 40?
I have 40 officers in my department.
In your department?
Right.
Okay, gotcha. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate the presentation.
We'll just go from left to right.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation too. It's a good presentation. So I had a question along the 300 that are in merit. So how do you become a member of merit? Do you apply or are they sought out? Is this like the SEALs of the DuPage County Police Force or
Well,
how would you?
that's a great question. So we have a hierarchy in the structure, and we have a selection process. So the component commanders are in charge of selecting people for their components, and it's an active interview process. For example, we just picked a new SWAT commander. Commander Clark from Lombard retired, and Commander Dexter from Lyle is now in charge. And there was an interview panel, there was resumes, there were questions. It was formalized, it was structured, and we chose the better person for the job. And that transcends every component. So whether it's major crimes or canine's a little tougher because the agencies pick who the canine handler is, and then we take what we can get for there. But for the most part, for the investigators, they're selected by Lieutenant Thayer and his staff, to fill these positions. So so there is a vetting process, and we are getting the best of DuPage County.
Okay, and then, so just so I understand, so these merit officers, do they solely work for merit or do they still work for their departments as well?
No, they work for their police departments. So when they show up, they will be in their, Westmont uniforms, Downers Grove uniforms, or, their plainclothes. So their primary responsibilities is their home agency. This is a secondary assignment.
Okay.
So when maybe you're talking about activations, let's say that there's an active shooter in Westmont. We get on the phone and we call and we said, we need a SWAT team, we need canines, we need drones, we need basically send us everything. And then a page goes out, and then if you're attached to that component, your phone goes off and then you go.
Okay, great.
And that, so really one of the other unique things about it is the speed in which we can assemble. We can be up and operational in less than an hour, usually less than that, depending on the situation. I asked the SWAT commander last year, this is good information to have, there's 60 some odd operators that are on the SWAT team. There's probably 10 to 12 that are working 24/7 somewhere in DuPage County. So if they're in their squad car and there's an activation, we're going to have 10 to 12 SWAT operators within minutes, with probably less than a half an hour to start assembling, a react team to at least, set up perimeters and get lines of communication open. And really that speed, it really helps out in successful resolutions.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. My impression is that this would possibly be saving departments money. What's your impression of that? I know it's only 3 years, but it seems like there's things that you wouldn't have to have and that redundancies would be reduced. So what is your impression as a chief of police about that issue?
Sure, this saves an awesome amount of money. I mean, it is probably not even measurable. It's it's more, I think, from an administrative perspective, it's more of a personnel, noticeable difference in personnel. But again, going to the Oak Mall shooting where we sent everybody, I mean, how do you fund that? All of the funding is on the individual departments for, paying their officers for working. And we'll all agree to that. And that's in our IGA. So, sharing services, sharing equipment, sharing people, all of that saves lots of money. We keep our staffs at a reasonable level. I don't have to hire an extra 40 officers to go on top of the 40 officers, in the chance that happens, whether, our biggest agency, Naperville, down to our smallest agency, Wayne, if they need a SWAT team, they get an entire SWAT team. If Wayne needs 60 people there, they get 60 people. If Naperville needs it, it goes that way. So really it's equal distribution, and it's definitely saving money.
Well, I hope more counties will adopt this. It's a great idea. Thank you so much.
We're gonna have the certificate ceremony. So any other questions, let's maybe send them to Chief Gunther via email. And we want to move on to the award ceremony. Constant. Good. Okay. Switch it out. And before handing out the certificates, I would like to recognize two members of Merit who recently retired. Those people are Roselle Police Chief Steve Herron, Treasurer, and Law Enforcement Bureau Chief Bob Torp from the DuPage County Sheriff's Office. Thank you so much for dedicating your life to public safety. And I am honored to present the board members of Merit with certificates of appreciation on behalf of Chair Conroy to recognize Merit's contributions towards enhancing the quality of life for DuPage County residents through their collaborative efforts. Thank you for your commitment to public safety and teamwork. And let's see, I'm gonna call your names. And then Member Eckhoff will hand you your certificates. So Chairman Jim Gunther. Jim Gunther. Chief Brian Cunningham. Immediate past Chairman Ray Turano, Warrenville Police Department. Secretary Chief Bill Holmer. Treasurer Chief Tim Roberts. Wayne Police Department. DuPage Sheriff James Mendrick. DuPage County State's Attorney Robert Berlin. DuPage Chief Liaison Chief John Madden, Burr Ridge Police Department. Merit Coordinator Deputy Chief Dan Bilodeau. And he's with DuPage County Sheriff's Office. Deputy Coordinator of Investigative Operations, Deputy Chief Tom Stephenson, Woodridge Police Department. Deputy Coordinator, Special Operations, Deputy Chief Joe Grage, Lombard Police Department. And Deputy Coordinator, Tactical Operations, Chief Colin Fleury, West Chicago Police Department. Thank you all so much for your.
Deputy Chief Mike Rivas.
Oh,
as well.
why is your name not on here? I'm so sorry, Chief Rivas. Oh yeah, let's get a picture and thank you so much. Yeah, let the room clear out a little bit. And next we will move on to the approval of minutes. All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Oh, sorry. Do you want? Okay. All right, I got to get back into the groove of things. Okay, so next we will go on to procurement requisitions. Can I get a motion to approve JPS P005223? Recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Trinity Services Group, Inc. to provide meals for the inmates and officers in the jail for the Sheriff's Office for the period of June 1st, 2023 through May 31st, 2024 for a contract total amount of $1,225,031. This one is we're gonna have some questions for this one. So actually I should, so did I get a motion in a second? I did. And then discussion. So we will go with members A.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just concerned we only got one bid response on this out of 17 invites. I mean, that's kind of a scary thing. If something were to happen and Trinity couldn't do it anymore, we're kind of stuck. So can someone explain why only one is responding for this?
Yes, we will have that.
Actually, we did send out 12 responses. We got 3 back. Well, 2 said no, they will not do it. And 1 did respond to Trinity. Now, we did have in the clause that if Trinity can't provide it, we will have a backup plan with them.
Okay, but this, in the past, have we gotten more than just a few?
We've only gotten 2 on the last round.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Member Desart?
I'm sorry, you walked away. I still have questions. So why do you think we've gotten such a low number of bids? What is it about our contract? Is there something about our contract that doesn't generate more excitement out of the industry? This is a very unique industry. So we just can't go to a restaurant and purchase this either, but it's very unique. So we do send it out. We do call the vendors. We do advertise, but they have not responded.
And you said that we have a backup, if Trinity can't provide, we have a
So
backup.
Trinity will provide meals coming in.
Okay.
If they can't, really service it, they will have a backup plan in there.
They will have a backup plan.
Correct.
That's what I thought you said. They will
Yes.
have a backup plan.
Yes.
All right, well, thank you.
Member Krajewski?
Think, who does like Lake County, Will County, Kane County, does Trinity do all the counties?
No, they do not. They have I forgot who did their plan, because we did consult with Lake County as we put out this bid.
Well, yeah, I mean, if there's other ones out there that are bidding on these other counties, I'm not sure why they're wouldn't bid on DuPage. But I thought if Trinity was doing them all, it would make sense if they're the only person, but their company. But if there's other ones doing them.
Lake County has a different model. I do know that because I did ask one of the buyers on that project.
Different model in what?
Well, I think that we do per mill. I think they have a different service that they're coming in with. So I don't know who their provider is, but I know that I can check with that and I can definitely get you an answer.
Yeah, I would look, I mean, if there's a different model out there, maybe we should be using a different model. I don't know. No one.
Thank you. And I will provide, I did get a little bit of history on this. For the past 4 years, we've had the same contract and we were paying 97 cents per meal. That is rock bottom, dirt cheap. And so with inflation, with the labor shortage, with the price of, everything, including eggs going up, we are now paying $1.79 per meal under this contract. So if you really think about even $1.79 a contract, that's pretty darn low. So inflation's going up and our prison population has gone up. So that explains part of it. Oh, sorry.
Just so with this contract as well, it's priced out at 625 people being the daily population. So this is a not to exceed contract. So again, we only pay for the meals that we have. So there is a possibility that this would come in under, but this is on the high end. Whereas the previous contract, and Commander Putnam and Under Sheriff Moore, tell me if I'm wrong, it was 500 for the current contract. So it was at 500 and we've been averaging higher than that currently.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Okay, so next we're going to budget transfers. Item 23-1553. Can I get a motion to approve transfer of funds from accounts other professional services to furniture, machinery, equipment, small value in the amount of $5,000 for the purchase of 44 chairs for the crisis intervention training room? Any discussion on this? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Next we go to item 8B, 23-1554. Can I get a motion to approve transfer of funds from account regular salaries to temporary salaries in the amount of $70,300 for additional temporary legal intern salaries for the spring and summer? Any discussion on that? Okay, all opposed? All right, sorry, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Next, we move on to 8C, item 23-1555. Can I get a motion to approve the transfer of funds from accounts regular salaries, employer share IMRF, and employer share Social Security to employee medical and hospital insurance, medical services, furniture, machinery, equipment,
Second.
small value, operating supplies and materials, and other contractual expenses in the amount of $10,618 to offset salaries and benefits to cover the increased cost of treatment services for furniture and small equipment, operating supplies, and other contractual expenses up to line up with the grant budget supplemental funding per the grant authority. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Next, we move on to grants, item 9A. Can I get a motion on 23-1556 to approve GPN 02123 fiscal year 23 formula DNA capacity enhancement for backlog reduction program, U.S. Department of Justice Bureau of Justice Assistant in the amount of $395,280. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. And let's move on to travel 10A, item 23-1557. Can I get a motion to approve? Authorization is requested for one coordinator from the DuPage Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management to attend an all-day workshop on April 26, 2023, hosted by the Illinois Law Enforcement Alarm System to issue and train on new equipment. DuPage OHSEM is the host agency for ILEA's communications assets, ITEX 4. ILEAS is providing lodging for this coordinator on the night prior to the workshop. Breakfast is included at the hotel, and ILEAS is providing lunch during the workshop. Other than gas reimbursement in the amount of $50, there is no cost to DuPage County. Any discussion on this? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Let's move on to 10B, item 23-1558. Can I get a motion to approve the authorization is requested for one reservist from DuPage Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Management to attend an all-day workshop on April 26, 2023, hosted by the Illinois Law Enforcement Alarm System to issue and train on new equipment. DuPage OHSEM is a host agency for ILEAS Communications Assets, ITEX 4. ILEAS is providing lodging for this reservist on the night prior to the workshop. Breakfast is included at the hotel, and ILEAS is providing lunch during the workshop. There's no cost to DuPage County. Any discussion, members A?
Why is this coming through the board? This probably costs us more in man hours and putting it on an agenda and everything else for $0 used. Last one's for 50. And it's starting to get a little ridiculous, especially when it's the trainings in DuPage County. It's our own county. I mean, I'm just staff time alone on this probably costs us more than the $50 or the $0 at this point.
We can look at the travel policy and have a discussion on that and
Thank
see
you.
what's needed. Yes, that's perfectly. Just so you know, I am reviewing that because I had very similar thoughts.
Okay, so.
Sure, Evans, member Chaplin.
Oh, member Chaplin.
Yeah, I believe we are working on the travel policy because we share the same as you. So yeah, thanks.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. We're moving on to informational, item 10A 23-1559. Can I get a motion to put on file Public Defender's Office March
Second.
2023 monthly statistical report? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Any old business? Any new business? Okay, let's adjourn. Thank you.